2. Camouflage is not a fashion statement. He is skillful in attack when his enemy does not know what to defend. He is skillful in defense when his enemy does not know what to attack. To the mall ninja, to the barroom hero, to the monster truck aficionado, to the connoisseur of low-calorie beer, and to the fly fishing jig expert, camouflage is a fashion staple. To the individual warrior, camouflage should not be synonymous with woodland, tiger stripe, multicam, or tac cam. Camouflage should rather be a word synonymous with phrases like fitting in, hide in plain sight, and honest officer, I didn't see anything or anyone unusual. Our enemy, the state, has the luxury of fighting wars of attrition. He has an endless supply of servants to call upon to pour into fields and down roads to their deaths. He adorns them in impressive uniforms and teaches them to march in ridiculous, unnatural ways so that everyone can see how blindly and fanatically they serve him. He teaches them to snap their heads from side to side, exaggerate their steps, and swing their arms like broken windmills, and they obey. No matter what absurd costumes the state requires, big furry hats, fringe-covered shoulders, or colorful, sparkly insignia, servants of the state strut themselves about, showing their fervor for service, while proudly whoring their dignity to their master. Watching a military parade should immediately put one in mind of the Paris fashion runways, where pathetic, brainless drones don ridiculous costumes and march about with a dead look in their eye for the perverted pleasure of a small group of rich women. Except in the case of the military parades, the brainless drones in costume kill on command and throw away their own lives for their rich political masters. And unlike those of the fashion models, the families of the military slaves take great pride when their sons and daughters die senselessly over a stretch of sand or a bombed-out hill. Or worse yet, the broken slaves, no longer useful to the politicians, come home with war-ravaged bodies and minds that are relegated to live out their miserable existence in homeless shelters or under a bridge near a trash dumpster where they can find some morsel to eat. Even in this shameful condition, the burned-out souls will often continue wearing some tattered camo-painted remnant of their costume. This is how the state treats its most faithful slaves, and thus we see our enemies, not the broken slaves, but the men and women who use the state to destroy lives, including destroying their own slaves. We must not use people like this, nor should we allow ourselves to be used like this. The individual warrior is a rare commodity that must be respected and cherished. If victory is to be obtained, it will be through each individual warrior realizing that his or her strength doesn't lie in the collective power of waves of dead soldiers, but in the success of staying alive, of moving without being observed, and of striking and vanishing without being remembered. This is the power of camouflage, to appear so much a part of the scenery that no one notices that you are there, and then no one notices when you leave. In modern, first-world irregular warfare, this is not done by breaking light and shadow patterns and mimicking leaves or grass. It's done by looking and acting like you should be where you are. We will stay alive and we will defeat the state only when we pick our battle, when we strike where the enemy is not guarding, and when we present our enemy with no way to strike us back. In frustration, the state will punish the innocent, and that will create even more of us to strike him again. With more careful strikes against the state will commit more resources to swinging at our shadows. Simple mathematics teaches us that a single bullet only costs us a few small coins, but governments must respond with mountains of cash and dramatic oppression of the innocent. As that oppression rises, faith in the state shrinks. This is our part in the process that leads to the death of our enemy, the state.